Hi, my name is Sasha. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the WLW Wednesday review of Wilder Girls by Rory Power. This is Rory Power's debut. It is about this school for girls called Raxter School for Girls on an island that gets quarantined because of a disease called the tox. The tox takes over your body and mutilates it and changes it into its own shape. And three girls, Hetty, Byatt, and Reese, are kind of put together and become friends and sort of fight for survival together. There are a few reasons why you might not like this book. First of all, the most important one is body horror. If you do not like body horror or anything that will make you cringe about bodies, you won't like this book. You will not like it. You need to avoid it and try not to trigger yourself because it is, it's not, okay. So my friend Rebecca from Rebecca Reads said it wasn't so bad for her, but there were a couple times where I personally cringed because of how detailed this book gets about bodies and the way that the tox changes the bodies. Another reason you might not like it is that it's a little slow to get into. It takes about 2 or 3 chapters before any action starts happening. And the third reason is that there is no definitive ending. It does have an open ending. I personally enjoy open endings. I think that kind of imagining your own ending is like can sometimes be preferable depending on the story. And if you're not someone who likes open endings, you probably will not like this book. However, there are a million more things to like about this book than there are to dislike about it. First of all, the writing. Rory Power uses descriptive writing that brings the story to life in such vivid color that it gets under your skin and kind of makes you cringe. And the way she describes the island and the talks really got to me. Like it made me feel like I was there and made me feel claustrophobic. It made me feel like my body was changing with the girls, and I felt so uncomfortable a lot of the time and so closed in, and the ability to do that is very few and far between, I think, when it comes to writers. But she came out in full force in this book. Like, wow. My favorite part of the book is the characters. Um, they are all bright and real and messy. Everyone is morally gray and just out for their own survival. Um, but the relationships are really what shine in this book. There's the all the girls kind of form their own cliques, and they watch out for their own cliques, and it really showed the power of friendship in tough times and how important it is to have people to lean on and to look out for, and how that can like change everything about what you're going through. Hetty and Byatt are best friends, like sisters, they say, and the way they will fiercely protect each other and do anything for each other is so admirable and also so heartbreaking. And the way that Reese kind of gets put on the back burner is realistic to uh, the saddest point. Like, if you were ever that friend who kind of felt like the third wheel, or when you had two friends walking in front of you and you were the one walking at the back, that's what I felt like Reese was like. And that's just how it is. And it's so sad, but the way this book is so honest about it made me really happy that we could find such a realistic depiction of girl friendships. And the romance between Hetty and Reese was so tender and fragile. It made me so sad that it had to happen in such a fraught time. And the way that they treat each other is so gentle and also so like fierce. Like they really just were getting to know how this relationship could be in this time when everything was a mess and they couldn't really be together the way they should have been together. And that is what will always kill me, is that if they had been somewhere else on a different place, they could have been like the cutest couple. But the way that this book is, there's no happy endings. Yeah. And the plot is scarce, but the way this book unfolds, it really keeps you reading, because in the way that the world is always changing and bad situations always seem to get worse, this specific plot, I don't even know if I should call it a plot, this specific situation has so many twists and turns, and these girls are so abused by the adults in this situation that they're constantly having to change their own situation and fight to survive. And I really think that that's an honest, and I keep saying that it's honest, but it's such a real honest depiction of this kind of thing when it comes to teenagers and trying to carve out their own way and survive on their own when nobody else will do it for them. So I gave this book 5 stars, and I stand by that. There were times during the book when I was questioning whether I would give it 5 stars, just because it wasn't an explosive 5 stars. This book is more of a creeping, like, into your heart kind of 5 stars. Like, it gets into you and under your skin and inside of you, like the talks, and just makes you love it and want more and more. But it cuts off at such an interesting point, and I think that that's kind of what it has to do. It had to end in a way that shows you that there's no real happy ending in situations like this. There's no real way that it was going to be like everything is solved, and that's why I loved the ending. I hope that wasn't very spoilery or anything. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to spoil you. But there are the 4 questions that I always ask at the end of these. First, was the romance the focus of the story? It is not. The focus of the story is friendship and survival and, just trying to live another day. Was it a healthy romance? Not necessarily. There was too much going on in the background and too many choices to make for it to truly have been healthy. It was what it could have been, and what it should have been. It was what, I'm not making any sense. It was what it would have been in that situation, no matter what they did. That sounds stupid, but yeah. Was the book clean or explicit? It was clean, but it was very gory. It was explicit in the gore. Maybe people wouldn't find it as gory as I did, but I found it pretty gory. Does it have a happy ending? Not necessarily. it depends on your definition of a happy ending or an ending in general. It ended, I think, the way it should have, and it wasn't really happy. It was more hopeful. So that's that. Comment down below if you've read Wilder Girls, what you thought about it, and tell me if any of what I said made sense, because I have such a hard time describing this book and like how to review it. I couldn't think of how I wanted to review this book, and maybe I should have said this at the beginning, because probably a lot of people have clicked off by now, but yeah, I didn't know how to review this book except to just, because it's so hard to review 5-star books, and this book in particular is so hard to pin down, but I did the best I could. So that's all for me for now. I will see you in the next one. Bye!